Hi, I'm Anthony Ehresmann, and welcome to Urbana Leader. Today's guest is Tom Stacy. Tom, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Anthony.
It's in the papers quite a bit that we have a wind development here in Champaign County, Buckeye Wind Project. So it's in the papers every week. It has been at least for the last couple of months. And we thought it would be appropriate to have a few shows on it. So we've talked to wind developers, we've talked to concerned citizens, and now we're talking to you. So we do have a few questions, and I really do appreciate you coming out here and doing this for us.
Well, Anthony, I appreciate being here too.
It's a big help.
It's a nice opportunity to have uninterrupted time to talk about a subject that is very easy to promote in simple language, but it's more difficult to talk about the problem areas and have the general public understand it. So the time frame of the show works pretty well.
Good.
Hopefully we can cover a lot of bases.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And I'm going to steal a line, and we're going to let's try not to dig it too deep of a hole. But let's dig a deep hole.
Okay. Well,
not to China, but
we'll strike a balance then.
So here's the first question. You claim that wind energy is not only a bad idea for Champaign County, but for the United States of America. Why is that?
Well, Anthony, in a nutshell, the value really isn't there. The benefits are marginal, and the costs are well beyond what the industry claims they are, and claims as their own costs. And we'll get to why. It's a bit like where opportunity catches responsibility sleeping, with respect to the way an industry comes to our government and says, we promise this, and the government says, wow, that sounds great, here's the money. I think we've gone off the deep end with this technology. I've been doing quite a bit of research on it the last few years, and there are two main areas I'd like to address today. One is the effect of electricity that's produced when the weather's cooperating, and stops being produced when the weather stops cooperating, of course. And the other is the energy density of land use, or what we would call energy sprawl. Okay. Those are the two categories, and the first one I'd like to get out of the way is what's the effect of electricity that happens now and then and isn't in line with
on-demand base load, there when you want it.
Right. Isn't there when it's supposed to be.
Mother Nature doesn't cooperate all the time. Okay.
So
and you're referring to a PowerPoint presentation. We'll just
yeah, I am.
This is a deep subject, so
I've got it laid out here on my computer in Word.
As long as it's not on your hand.
Right? That's right. Yeah, that's right. Conversion factors are not right. Okay. Well, here's the thing. At first, wind energy isn't much of a help or a hindrance to the grid, as we just start to put a little bit of it in a particular grid region. Okay. Okay. As we add more, its incremental value gets lower and lower.
Now, why is that?
Why is that? Germany's central grid operator is a company called E.ON Netz. Okay. And E.ON Netz put out a wind report a few years ago and described the situation exactly like this, and I'm going to quote them. Wind energy currently contributes to the secure production capacity of the system by providing 8% of its installed capacity.
All right.
As more wind power facilities come online, the lower availability of the wind colonies determines the reliability of the system as a whole to an ever-increasing extent. Consequently, the high reliability of traditional power stations becomes increasingly eclipsed. Okay. As a result, the relative contribution of wind power to the guaranteed capacity of our supply system up to the year 2010 will fall continuously from 8% to 4%. In other words, the reporting that as you add more wind to the grid, you can only reliably count on less and less of it.
And why is that? How does that work out mathematically? If I have one wind turbine and it supplies 8%, if I add another one, how come I'm not doubling my percentage?
Well, the contribution to guaranteed capacity is a statistical figure
Okay,
based on historical performance.
all right.
It's kind of like a batting average. So if you have a hitter that has a 200 batting average, they get a hit on average 1 out of 5 times. We know that because they've batted before.
Right.
But in the 9th inning with the bases loaded, 1 run down, they come to bat. They might have struck out the last 4 times, but that 5th time, there's no guarantee they're going to get a hit.
Right.
Okay, and that's true over and over and over again with wind energy devices based on broad weather patterns over the region of supply.
Okay.
Now, I'm gonna kind of skip back to my previous train of thought, and I think what you're driving at is how much
Right.
is this variability, and I'll cover that.
Okay, good.
So, but right now our policies for subsidizing this technology don't recognize the importance of secure production capacity. And in the U.S., secure production capacity is roughly the same definition as capacity value. It's the statistical probability based on past performance that a generator will be available at any future moment of peak demand.
Okay.
Okay? Currently, subsidies in mandated use are designed to make wind energy profitable, regardless of its contribution to secure capacity. Okay? In my opinion, these policies apparently either assume A, kilowatt hours are kilowatt hours, and that's the product, ignoring the importance of delivery timing. Or B, that ultimately production is absorbed into the grid without any adverse effects. Or C, that, well, we'll deal with that later, when it becomes more of an issue, likely by throwing even more taxpayer money at it. So, and there are other even less palatable possibilities, D, E, and F, for reasoning that we won't go into right now. I'm going to go on and cover just for a few minutes on sprawl and the energy density of land use.
All right.
Now, wind energy is not a dedicated land use. Its footprint at ground level is pretty small. If you could put all those little footprints together, you'd be doing all right.
Right.
With the technology. Unfortunately, there are aspects of the machines, because the mechanical device is so large and so high off the ground that it has potential impacts on a radius roughly around that tower.
Right.
So
you're not going to want to fly too close to it.
You don't want to fly too close to it. That's true. There are, the National Academy of Sciences has verified all of these, and I'll kind of go down through the list. They include an impact on any onlooker's landscape and view of the sky. Industrial animation is visible from several miles away and quite dominating at a quarter of a mile. Other considerations are audible noise from wear on bearings and gear sets. That gets louder and louder as time goes on before maintenance occurs, or things are repolished, reground. There's modulating noise and heavy low frequency vibration from the blades cutting through the air and passing the tower mast. There's a propensity for bats to fly near the blades, rarely striking them, but getting close enough to get caught in the pressure wave right behind the blade. Blade tip speeds are about 180 miles an hour on these devices. And there's a pressure drop that occurs behind the blades, so bats will fly up to something, checking it out, see what it is, and then they'll veer off. Well, they get caught in this pressure wave, and it creates a low pressure suddenly that hemorrhages their lungs, and they fall out of the sky.
Okay.
There are physical hazards from mechanical failure, fires, and even from melting ice that could be catapulted off of the blades to some distance. And there are studies by the wind turbine manufacturers that estimate the maximum amount of distance these